Welcome back. Very exciting. Twosome here. Lauren and I are joining you from the Light and Wonder Studios. We are a twosome today, missing our other partners in crime, Bronwyn and Anika, who are out, but so excited to be back for the next episode.
Yeah, episode 4. I can't believe it. This is crazy.
I know. Well, we're very busy.
Very.
Yeah. So we have an exciting episode today. But before we get to that, Lauren, how are you? How are you feeling today?
I'm good. You know, I appreciate you checking in. I love having a friend. So I'm gonna ask you, how are you feeling today?
I'm also good. I'm a little lacking on coffee, so maybe we'll see how this goes. But we're gonna do our best, and we're here. It's a Friday, and you and I, we've been doing this for a little bit, like you said, episode 4. But I'm super excited because we're back to Casino 101, which is my favorite topic.
Yeah. It's like your little baby. You know?
It is, and I think I just have the passion for teaching everybody everything. I think it's going to be awesome, and we have an exciting guest from Light and Wonder today, so that's going to be neat.
Ooh, an in-person guest.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Yeah, she's going to be here. She's going to sit where you're sitting, she's going to enlighten us about everything marketing. Super excited to have this guest because she's lived on kind of both sides of gaming, both the retail side and the manufacturer side. So she must have some awesome stories.
Yeah, she's got a unique perspective. I think both sides is going to open up our world a little bit and explain a little bit about marketing. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, and marketing's cool. I think it's fun.
No, it is. It's cool.
And they have like the funnest people work there, right? So, I mean, it's got to be fun. But either way, we'll get to the cool guest in a little bit. We are going to start with some fun stuff. We have been talking about this Casino 101, just giving like a high level, right? So when it comes to marketing, we kind of wanted to maybe talk a little facts to start. Like
get a little deep.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't like numbers, right?
Me, but that's okay. I'm here with you because
you love numbers.
No, I don't. But we're good.
You don't know it yet, but you're gonna love numbers. Let's start with a big one. So when we're gonna talk about Casino 101, we're gonna mostly talk about retail casino, right, and kind of like the operations behind that. We're gonna have lots of fun episodes about online and interactive and all the other stuff. So we're just gonna really get to the meat of brick and mortar casinos today. So I was doing a little research and I found out AGA posted their stats from last year, and they say there's over 1,000 retail casinos in the U.S.
It's kind of a mind-blowing number if you think about it. That's a lot of casinos.
Insane. And you think about all the places that they're in, right? I mean, you've got Vegas, obviously, but then you have, I don't know, really small towns in West Virginia and really small towns and tons and tons. I found the fact that over half of those are tribal.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Super neat, right?
Do you want to know a fun fact about me? So I have only lived in major gaming cities. I was born in Atlantic City. I moved to Las Vegas and I went to college in Reno. Wow. So like my entire life, I've been surrounded by casinos.
You were born in a casino, basically.
Basically, yeah. Like, you know, that whole thing where people always ask you, like when you tell them you live in Vegas, like, did you live in a casino? And I used to joke, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was born in room 404.
But I practically did.
You were an interesting bird then, because I mean, but in your day job, you work in lots of other spaces, right? Where casinos are in these other smaller places. So I'm sure it's a very different vibe than Vegas and Atlantic City.
Oh yeah.
So
I've seen some small, tiny casinos to the big, glamorous, beautiful ones. So I mean, I've seen it all. Good.
Well, I'm excited to hear your perspective then, because another interesting fact, and not that you work for the casinos, but I found out 1.75 million people are employed by casinos. That means that all those people are living in those cities and those towns all around, which growing up in Vegas, I got that question all the time. Either your parents worked in industry, right? And my best friend, her mom was worked in the Harrah's coffee shop for like 35 years, loved it. She knew the regulars. She was awesome. But growing up around a casino kind of is a big vibe for the people, employees and people that have to travel there for work and such. So,
but you think about some of those small locations and some of those small casinos that these people, they're employed by this casino, and that's sometimes what is in the city. That's it. That's all they've got. And sometimes they're traveling far distances to get to those places, and that number's just staggering. But I mean, you look at like it's over 1 million people work in casinos. You think about the growth and opportunity that's there, and how many people have good jobs in these awesome casinos, right?
And they stay forever.
Yeah. Loyal, very loyal employees.
Yeah, down in Louisiana, when I was working, I was having a conversation, and a lady told me she had been in the casino, opened it 27 years ago, and never left. And in my mind, I mean, people generally stay in jobs, like 2 to 5 years. But you think of some lady sitting her entire life and raised her babies,
I mean, she knows the ins and outs of that place
like crazy. I love it. I love it. So speaking of people that work at casinos, let's give a little bit of just kind of like a high level on kind of marketing, right? So I did another little, I'm going to tag here a little bit on the white paper that UNLV Gaming Research put out. And it was really talking about what are the 4 big factors when you're talking about marketing, specifically for a retail side, right? So the first, and these factors are really, what do you have to understand about marketing to understand how to run operations in these casinos, right? The 4 are, and start with the biggest one, is market, right? Like, what's happening in this town? Is this the only thing going on in this town? Do we have a highway that's being built that now none of my people can get to my casino?
Do we have competition down the street?
Yes.
Like, what do we got to watch out for? Yeah, there's a lot.
So much. So number 2, competition. Drop the ball there. You knew it was coming. Huge
Sorry,
factors.
I ruined your fun.
No, that's what you should do, because look, you know exactly what's going on. But I think that's a huge piece of market, right? When you talk about market share, everybody always says, well, I need market share. What does that mean? Well, how much do you have of all the business in that area versus your competitor, right? And you're always fighting for this market share. I'm doing hand quoting for those of you that can't see me. But market share is a huge aspect of what people are driven to do every day. Number 3 factor, like probably the most important one, is your customer, right? Who are we looking at? If I'm in Tunica, it's probably a very different customer than if I'm in Atlantic City or specifically in Las Vegas when you're talking about destination versus, kind of local regional. So getting to know your customers is probably the pivotal. We're going to get a guest later that actually does marketing that will tell us that it's probably the most important
Tell us how important it is. Yeah.
But it seems like it's pretty important.
Yeah, I mean, you got to learn the ins and outs of that person and see what it's going to take to get them to come back. Whether they're in a destination casino or they're in a local casino, they can drive right down the street. Like, what does it take to get that person to come back over and over and over again and become loyal, just like those employees we were talking about?
Oh, I love it. Loyalty. We're going to get to that because I think that's one of my favorite parts of casinos, which in my mind blows my mind. There's loyalty to a casino. Either way, we'll get to that. The number 4 and the last factor is probably the most important is your property, right? Your physical property. And not just, do I have carpet from 1975? That's always a big one. But also, kind of what is your other offerings? So now, especially I understand with younger demographics, they want an experience.
Yeah.
So it's not just what's my casino floor look like? It's, do you have good food and beverage outlets, right? Because if you don't have a cool sports bar, you're probably missing out on a pretty cool segment not showing up.
Yeah, I think there's definitely ways now to capture a player's attention for longer periods of time. And I think that has a lot to do with how are your rooms? Can you stay the weekend? Can you make this a staycation? What's your pool look like? Can I get a massage? How's that spa? Like, the property aspect is so big, and it doesn't just revolve around the casino floor, even though I like to think that it does because it's my favorite thing. But it's so massive and it's so big. Entertainment now, they're bringing in concerts, they're, movie theaters, things that really capture that player's attention and capture for more than just that play session that they come in for.
Yep. Genius. They really figured out how to do it. I can tell you personally, I'm not going to stay anywhere unless there's a spa.
Right.
And that's just
I'm
a
with
new
you.
thing. Yeah. So. Okay. So that's really the 4 basic factors, right? And I think there's a lot to handle in that, like as we've said, right? But really, I want to get down to like the different types of strategies and people that are running these big 4 factors for a casino. Who are they and what are they doing? So I loiled it, or I kind of leveled it down to a couple of different areas just to give some super high level, right? Not to bore everybody, because this is not a boring 101. This is a fun 101. So the first kind of area that we would touch on is basically database. And anytime you use the word database, it's not the IT nerd inside of me saying, oh, no, it's like a marketing database, which is so important in the casino industry, right? To have this wealth of guests that you can reach out to and get that visit, right? So number 1, I mean, again, we'll ask our expert later, but seems like a really important thing that no matter who you talk to in the industry, they'll know what database means, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how do you get to those customers? So now you're talking about postcards and emails and the little fun mailers that you get. And
do you still get mailers?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea. I grew up in this town, so I've seen mailers, but the strategy that goes into building these postcards, the first time I walked into my job and they had them on the wall, and there was millions of them.
Yeah.
And there was like cats on them, and there were like jokes and birds. I was like overwhelmed by mailers and how important they are. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's not just about the slot machines the casinos are looking to promote either, right? It's all those offerings we were talking about earlier. So there's so much that they can actually offer within those mailers, and there's a lot of strategy that goes behind those.
Yes, it's a work of art for sure. For sure.
I'd love to see that wall. That's got to be fascinating.
I took a picture. Yeah, we'll do show and tell one day. I'll show you one. The second big area is loyalty. We already dropped that one earlier, but I think there's a whole strategy around how once you get the guest, right? So say you're using this mailer, they're coming in, they're getting their $50 in free play, and they're like, yeah, I'm here. How are you creating the experience to keep them loyal, right? Whether you're the tier programming, right? Another example of a crazy amount of strategy. What tier are you in? What player level are you in? Things like that. And then getting that guest to feel like they're making accomplishments to the next thing, so they're always coming back.
Yeah, achieving something, getting to the next level, but getting a little more every time they go back,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, like I do that on my Starbucks app. I'm like, hey, I want to get to that next tier so I can get my free cup, right? So I get it.
Did you get a free cup this morning? Because you bought coffee for us.
I
so.
did not. So I did not. But I'll work on it next time. I'll get free cups for everybody because I spend a lot at Starbucks. Okay, the third group, and a fun group, is brand. So I think this area has become much more relevant in the last probably 10, 15 years, right? Where you're spending a lot of time because brand has become such a huge aspect of marketing overall, because digital brand has kind of changed the game. So when you look at brand, you're like, well, is it flashy enough? Look at our cool brand here, right? So, it's got to resonate. It's got to have the color palettes. It's got to have the things that customers want. I mean, that's a whole nother crazy strategy piece.
And then beyond that, you think like you introduce a brand into the market, and then you have to refresh it. You got to, you have to constantly find ways to stay relevant, especially now with everything available at our fingertips, and like being able to pick up your phone and look at the app and see, what's happening at your favorite local casino, and you can instantly understand what's going on. So you constantly have to stay on your toes and refresh those brands. And I think that it's really important to stay relevant and out there. Branding's a crazy world.
Yeah. And it's the visual piece, right? So it's what people see about you and your company, and we talk about personal brand all the time. Very similar, right? So yeah, you got to stay relevant, and you got to stay real time, because that's what everybody expects now, right? I want real time satisfaction. So I love that. Me too. Okay. And the last area we'll hit is probably the funnest area. And it's definitely where I get the most stories, and that's what, VIP, right? And when I came into this industry, this was probably the funnest thing I learned. I started getting stories from VIP hosts about the things that they would do for guests. Whether it's, hey, I could think one of my favorite, it was this guy was playing the table games, and he had spilled a drink on his pants, but he was on a roll, and he didn't, they don't want him to get up from the table. The host literally went in the back room, took off his pants, put on a pair of shorts from like the, food and beverage outlet or whatever guy, and then took the pants to the guest so he could change his pants, just so he didn't have to leave the table, like leave the casino to go get pants.
Yeah, that's serious dedication.
Wow.
That's serious dedication. I've seen it like that before too. I in the casino world, you see some very similar with the slot machines. You get players that have their favorite games, and VIPs get the reserved slot machines and everything. But there was this one woman who loved the slot machine so much. The VIP host would go get her lunch and her 6-pack of Mountain Dew and bring it to a table and put it right next to the slot machine for her, because she's a VIP. Like, she's a very important person that we are not letting out of this casino. And they catered to her, and man, she loved it.
Yeah. And they build a rapport.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they do, you talk about VIP and okay, what are you doing for the guests? But I understand that hosts get treated pretty well. Like, I've heard hosts get to go on private airplanes with guests, on cruises with guests. You build a relationship with them.
Yeah.
So blows my mind. But in a world I would never understand. Super cool, though, if you wanted a job, right? So those are really the 4 areas we focused on. And I think there's a lot more to be said about all the other things happening in marketing in a casino. I mean, you have events, you have we could be here all day if we were going to talk about everything, but we're not going to, because that would drive everybody nuts. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our awesome guest in studio.
Yay, our first in-person guest.
Our first in studio. So we want to give a warm welcome to Randi Topham from Light and Wonder, who is the VP of Marketing and Communication. So we're super excited to bring you in. Welcome to the studio. I mean, you kind of know the studio better than we do, but
I mean, just a little bit.
Yeah. But have you sat here before? And obviously you haven't been with us.
I think I've sat there before in the studio and was live. So this is a new seat for me in the studio.
Okay, I love it.
It's exciting.
Freshen it up today.
It's
I
all
like
good.
New days.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
I know
Thank
it's
you
a
for
short
having me.
trip from your desk here.
Yes. 30
but
seconds. It was a long journey. I made it.
We're so glad that
We're here.
we're so excited because we've been telling a little bit about you already on the episode about how you kind of have this experience on both sides of the house, and we're so excited to ask you some awesome questions to.
What'd you call her earlier, though?
The unicorn.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but a pretty unicorn, not
yeah,
a weird,
beautiful unicorn.
not with yeah.
I do have a sometimes probably.
Hey, you do you, right?
Okay.
All right. Let's learn all about you, speaking of. So
Sure.
tell us a little bit about Randi and kind of specifically too, maybe how you got into marketing, because that's a big topic for today.
Yeah, happy to. Kind of the short story is I graduated from UNLV. I was accepted into the MAP program at MGM Resorts, which was their management associate training program. I thought I was going to work in hotels. I went to the hotel college at UNLV. That's what my degree was in. And when I was interviewing for the role, I had a really awesome recruiter who said, look, I think you're great. I want to bring you on. But, there's a lot of applicants for the hotel spots.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are nieces and nephews, if you're catching my drift.
Oh,
I'm picking it up. And so she steered me to slots. And so started in slots, worked operations, Apologio. And then I was able to join the loyalty marketing group with MGM Mirage at the time.
Oh, Kate's favorite.
I love loyalty.
Yeah, it was a loyalty marketing group. It was, at the time we were installing Players Club at the MRG properties that that company had recently acquired. So a lot of good technical marketing experience in the early days, understanding system requirements and what it takes to install a brand new casino system, which is
insane.
Madness.
Yeah.
Wild. And then my career transitioned quite a bit for that organization. Ultimately, I landed at Wynn as their director of slot marketing, which was fabulous. I oversaw the host team. I oversaw the Red Card loyalty program, was obviously over special events. It was really kind of this great learning opportunity for me as a marketer, and especially at that property.
Yeah.
And then
property.
It's an amazing property. Yeah, it was just a great time. And then I spent a little time working actually at Penn National at Tropicana as their VP of marketing, which was marketing pretty much over all the things. Completely different product than Wynn. And so I think, you really kind of are forced to learn a lot in those moments when
it's a different player, different environment.
Oh my God, nothing was the same.
Yeah.
Every single thing was different. So nonetheless, really great experience and just kind of, understanding a different market, if you will, different player, like you said. And then I wanted to go on the supply side. I thought, I've had a great run. It was all on the Las Vegas Strip. I'm committed to Las Vegas. I have a 15-year-old daughter, so wasn't looking to relocate and felt like that move would be good for my career and was ready for a new challenge. So I broke in at NRT Technologies. I was there for about 10 months, and then the opportunity opened up here. It was Scientific Games still at the time, 5 years ago, actually, this month.
Congratulations.
Was able to come over, and it's been just an incredible journey ever since. I mean, our organization has seen so much change, but it's so much really amazing positive change. It's like the company I joined 5 years ago is not the company I work for today. Yeah. And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, not just getting exposed to this side of marketing, but also being able to kind of be on this journey that we're on here has been really rewarding.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later with the manufacturing side and some of your experience there. But the branding part we discussed a little bit. And you of all people have been through a massive brand change, and how cool that is, and what an opportunity it was to be a part of that. So.
Yeah.
And congratulations, because it's pretty cool stuff.
Thank you.
Not a small feat to do, right?
Yeah, no, we had a lot of skeptics when we first launched the brand, and we now have a lot of believers. Yeah. So it's been really fun to even kind of be on that journey, right? When you make a name change the way we made a name change, everyone's going to have an opinion.
Yeah, you guys made a statement. That's
we made a statement, but it wasn't done without a lot of research, a lot of consideration. We really did a lot of work to get to where we are today, and it's now exciting to kind of have these naysayers turned into believers. Yeah. So it's good.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So speaking of challenges, because we always love to get a little challenge sauce out there. When you were in retail operations, can you give us a little bit, maybe examples of some of your consistent challenges in operations on the retail side?
Yeah.
From a marketing perspective.
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, the casino never shuts its doors, right? And your customers will be there at all hours, on all days. You have employees that are often working almost 24/7 within marketing. And so when you think about just like the magnitude of this never ending sort of machine, right? And that's really what a casino is. It's just an incredible sort of ecosystem, if you will. Things just happen, right? Things happen with your people. Things happen with your customers. Things happen totally out of your control with the food and beverage department who screwed up an order, and suddenly you're, running there trying to help solve it. Like, it's just the things that can go well are endless, but the things that can go wrong are endless as well. And so it's just that constant grind that you just have to have a lot of grit to get through it, right?
You're like on at all times.
You're kind of on at all
anything.
times. I mean, I worked 6 days a week. When I worked casino operations on the marketing side, you have to, right? Your busy periods, at least on the Las Vegas Strip, were the weekend. So to be a good leader and to provide the best customer service, you had to be there. You really had to put the hours in. So, aside from that, you have a pretty diverse group of employees quite often in those roles. You'll have a host team, and, they have their own needs. And then you may have, representatives that work on the casino floor. You may have analysts that work back of house. And so as a leader, you're constantly being challenged because you're having to lead a very diverse set of people, and you want to bring them all on this journey with you. And it really takes a lot of, kind of constant thinking, right? Like, okay, I'm now going to meet one-on-one with my host team. What's on their mind? What's on my mind? What's important? What are our kind of key takeaways from these sessions? Oh, shift gears, meet with the special events team. Okay, what's on their plate? How can I support them? Like, what's next? So you're just always shifting gears, and it's really exciting. It's fun, but certainly it's a big challenge.
Yeah, it sounds like the extreme game of multitasking.
Yeah.
And we hear that a lot, especially with the women in GGW who work the floor today, right?
Yeah.
It's just, there's so much to do, and I'm talking to a guest one second, the next second I'm talking to my employee, and the next second I'm going to a leadership meeting where I have to give an update on something very important in front of the GM, and it's constantly shifting gears, and the ability to transition between that is so important. And it's not something that you easily have, innate. You have to kind of learn it, and you have to figure out how to stabilize that across the years, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to work for it. It certainly doesn't come natural, I think, for anyone. But then, just on the kind of like the more technical marketing side of things, you sort of live and die by your database, right? Like your customer base.
Database drop.
You were right.
And so, but you have a finite amount of people often. Of course, you're always in acquisition mode, but, generally speaking, you have a group of customers who also have a finite amount of money that they're willing to invest in their casino experience. Right. And so you really have to be smart and strategic about when you tap certain segments to come and, enjoy your property, because you don't want to over-index. Certainly you don't want to leave any money on the table.
Right.
So there's that kind of whole component as well, which is really fun. It's really exciting. And, I think that's where you're kind of all these groups that are so different kind of all have to come to the table and work together.
It's like I'm not saying that you change who you are, because I don't think that you would ever do that, but you speak so many different languages and you have to learn to adjust when you're speaking what language to what person and what group. And that part of multitasking is mind-boggling to me.
I have
absolutely.
no idea how you do that. Congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm sure some days I was better than others, right? Like anything in life. So
nothing's perfect, right?
No.
So speaking of kind of a constant change, one of the questions we get a lot, and I thought would be a good one for you, is how do you think the kind of like the online space, gaming, sports, all of the over the last 5-10 years has really changed the landscape of what kind of guests, how are you segmenting, how are you getting them, kind of cross market and all that? Like, what's your thought on all that?
Yeah, that was a great question. So I phoned a friend on this one because it's been 7 years since I worked in casino marketing, and a lot has changed in this space in 7 years. I mean, practically almost everything, right? And so one of my closest friends, Sarah Moore, she runs brand marketing for MGM Resorts. And I, kind of said, what do you think about these things? And she really broke it out into two areas. It's audience, and then it's brand growth. So, this online space has really opened up an entirely new cohort of customers.
For sure.
They're often younger and they often have disposable income. So if operators can play it right, they can transition them to their land-based operations and really activate this full kind of omni-channel marketing experience that so many people are talking about.
Speaking of unicorns.
Speaking of the unicorn, and naturally it'll enhance brand loyalty. I think, all of us likely have memberships or, kind of loyalty. We're a part of a loyalty program for like Delta Airlines, who now partners with Uber and partners with Starbucks. And so, you kind of have like
Starbucks.
I did the Starbucks drop earlier.
Faceted sort of experience where it just increases your loyalty to that parent brand. So there's that opportunity, certainly on the audience side, but then there's brand growth as well. So if operators choose to activate their own channels and brand them accordingly, you're now kind of increasing your brand reach,
right.
Which is exciting, which is really interesting. But the spend too is just insane.
Crazy sauce,
right? Insane. Like, nothing I've ever seen before in my career, and it doesn't seem like there are any signs of it slowing down in the near future.
I think that's a great question, because does it change the perception from a customer perspective about what they should be offered? Because if they're coming in now as an online player, they have a completely different expectation if they walk into a property, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting when you talk about, kind of these new customers, and how is the relationship, and how are you going to omni-channel them with two different different approaches?
Yeah. Oh, I think operators are absolutely going to have to up their game, right, within kind of their four walls, because these customers are being lured through a new channel, often by a very highly compensated celebrity.
Yeah.
And it's just, it creates this sort of expectation, I think, that you need to then deliver on within your operations. And, we're a part of that, right? Because we certainly provide a product on the casino floor, and it's certainly up to us as well to keep up with the expectation of the player.
Yeah.
Well, and we were talking about this earlier, how it's all at our fingertips and it's on our phones and fast and furious and in our face. And so when you talk about upping your game, that's part of that element too, is that it's everywhere you turn now. It's no longer just, okay, it's Friday night, I'm going to drive down to the casino, let's see what's up. I'm going to pull my online app up, I'm going to play for a little bit and see, what that leads to. So it's like instant, and we talk about instant gratification. You have to play all of that into it.
Yeah.
It's going to be insane. I love this. We could talk on this over a couple bottles of wine all day. But now I'm so curious about kind of the transition. We talked about going into manufacturing. So
Yeah.
I know Lauren, this is Lauren's favorite topic. So
big time.
Hit her,
Yeah.
Lauren.
Yeah, I think, it's fascinating to see the differences. And so I would just love to hear from your perspective, what do you see as the biggest difference from the casino floor side to the manufacturing side?
Yeah. When people ask what I do, and in simple words, I say, myself and my team, we're here to support our people and our product. First and foremost, we have a sales force that is on the road, is meeting with, these operators, is charged with placing our product, selling our product. We have to arm them with all the tools that they need to be successful. And I mean, we all know it. It's a really dynamic marketplace.
It's a hustle.
A lot of competition. It's a massive hustle. And so it's really important that, as a marketing organization within a supplier, you're really providing all the support you possibly can to the people, to your salespeople, to your product teams, and then certainly to the game development teams as well. And then the product, right? So how are we working together with our product teams on defining the kind of the ROI of the product, of telling that story? In games, especially if the game is a top performing game, that kind of does the work for you, right? Yeah. Then it's just sort of, kind of making sure that you're getting the word out there through your various channels, and you're arming your team with that data so they can take that forward to their customers. When you think about certain products and solutions, especially on the system side, it's definitely a bit of a more challenging story to tell. And so, you're constantly being challenged as well on this side. The challenges are a little different. But nonetheless, that's how I break it down. I don't want to call it more simple on this side. But, for us, really focusing on those two buckets is where I think you can do really well as a marketing organization within a supplier.
You talked a lot about multitasking in operations. It's similar, just maybe less channels to multitask in, but still the same challenges exist, right?
Absolutely.
You're still working with people. You're still working with everything.
A really common theme for you, and I'm sure you love this, is data, right? So you're constantly using that data to not only put the right information in your salespeople's hands, but you're, on the casino side, you're using that data to see what kind of player you've got coming in. So thanks for throwing that plug in for data for Kate, because that makes her really happy.
Data is awesome.
You can't get away from it anywhere you go. I think it's how you use it that might be a bit more nuanced, right, between the two sides.
It's so powerful, though, I think, in any industry, really. But specifically here, I think the casino industry is finding a way to refine using data and how they can market share. You can use it for game, analysis. I mean, anywhere and everywhere. I think it's okay. Either way, I'm done now. Keep going, Lauren. I could go all day on data.
All right. So one of the parts I find really fascinating is marketing directly to the casino, right? So that's the salesperson going in, showing a game, that kind of marketing, and then also marketing to the player.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about some of those differences and some of those challenges that you see. How do you market a game to a player and a game to a casino?
Yeah, no, I think this is a really fascinating topic that is only going to pick up steam, I think, kind of on this side of the business, the supply side of the business. I talked about it already, right? When you're marketing one of our products to a customer, it's often through the hands of a salesperson, right? You are arming them with the information they need to be successful. We obviously have social channels and some email marketing, special events. We have trade shows, which of course are a big opportunity for us to tell our story. But, by and large, it's a ground game, and you got to arm your folks that are on the ground with the information they need. When we think about marketing to the actual player, first and foremost, we have to be careful, because our customers really own that relationship. And I think we need to respect that.
Yeah,
I think it's important. And as a former operator, that's how I would be thinking about it.
Yeah, you understand that better than anybody.
I mean, and I think, they kind of live and die by their database, right? Like, this is their bread and butter. So I think it's important that you always, first and foremost, really respect that relationship. But that's not saying that it's not possible. So for us in our world and many other suppliers, we've really activated the influencer channel in this regard. And it's been great channel for us to reach players directly in new and different ways. So, we'll activate influencers by bringing them into our showroom or bringing them into one of our booths at a trade show, and we'll show them product that hasn't been released yet. So it's a way to start to thread that needle with the player on what's new, what's next, what's coming, kind of get them excited, kind of build up some demand. But then we'll also use it for product that is getting placed for the first time or even has been placed for a while. So it's a really great avenue for us to reach that player directly. I think influencer marketing, it's everywhere you go. Yeah. Chances are we're all influenced in some way by an influencer, even if we don't even realize it. It's pretty fascinating. And so that's certainly an area that we've been activating. And then we think about, kind of other ways as well. I mean, I don't think a player would ever know Light and Wonder as a brand, and nor should they. They know the games that they love. They know the characters within those games. They know the mechanics within those games that kind of keep them coming back to that particular game. And so for us, it's really thinking about, are there other ways for us to kind of build on these brands so we are reaching players more directly?
Wow. Yeah. Talk about strategy. Blows my mind.
We could probably keep going, but
again,
I could talk about this for hours.
More bottles of wine would be required. That's amazing. So what a great perspective, right? Because you do get to bring a little bit of the manufacturing and operations and kind of blend both sides. So unicorn status established.
Oh,
Big
Thank you so much.
Big time.
So since you're here, we're going to torture you.
Yes.
We're going to do a little bit of what we call rapid fire questions. Okay. So meant to be very easy. Don't overthink it. Just first thing you think of.
All right.
Okay. Normally Lauren runs this, so today I'm doing it. So we'll see if it goes well.
Spicing it up a little.
If not, I'm going to get fired from rapid fire questions. Okay.
Wait, am I playing too?
Yes, of course you're playing.
Okay, all right.
You're always playing.
Okay, so
yes.
Right.
Okay, you're always included. Okay, first question. What is your favorite word you use all the time?
You go.
Gumption.
Gumption.
I don't use it, but I think I want to.
Wow.
This is like aspirational word.
Okay. She's up in the game. Aspirational
gumption.
word you want to use all the time. You can't use gumption. It's already used.
Oh, I was that was nowhere near on my radar.
By the way, that was my grandpa's favorite word.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so, we love grandpa.
You got me. And you know this, I have a bit of a pirate. Naturally, like some of the curse words are some of my favorite. And,
yes, that's okay.
Yeah,
the four-letter words get it done every time.
Exactly.
Yeah. My word, I'll up your gumption to blasphemy.
Oh,
like ultimate word drop. If you're in a group of people, you're like, that is blasphemy, and they just die. Okay. Next question. Where did you go on your last vacation, Lauren?
Hawaii.
Oh,
yeah.
Really nice. Okay. Sorry, Randy. I should have had her go last.
Well, Newport Beach.
That's nice.
Oh, still really nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm actually headed to San Diego really this afternoon, so I'm going to use that one because, I rescheduled my family trip to be on this podcast, Lauren.
Oh, I appreciate
I love you.
So.
I love
that's
this.
commitment.
Yes.
Yeah, I love
to
it.
be here.
You are committed to the cause.
Exactly. Okay, third. What is your favorite movie genre, Randy?
Drama.
Comedy.
With gumption. Yeah, obviously.
With gumption. I'm comedy.
Comedy? Oh, see, I'm opposite. You wouldn't know this about me, but I'm a romance person.
Are you a rom-com?
Well, maybe less comedy and like old British romance. I know it's weird. It's weird.
This is blasphemy.
I know.
This is blasphemy.
See, we're bringing it all back around, ladies. Okay. This is supposed to be rapid. Okay. Favorite animal, Randy?
Elephant.
Elephant. Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, I like that. I'm tiger.
Tiger?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I'm going to say dog because I love my dog right now. That's all I got. Okay. Lauren, what never fails to make you laugh?
You.
Yeah. Well, I'm funny.
Never fail. You never
Clearly.
fails.
How about you?
My daughter.
Mm-hmm. How old is she?
15.
15. Oh, okay. Enjoy it while you got it.
15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, Lauren's a good example of my friends. They never fail to make me laugh. That and my husband, because he's a hoot. Okay. Lauren, would you ever skydive?
No. Well, yeah, no.
No? Fear heights? Fear of planes?
No, I just don't see an an appeal to it. I don't know.
I'm also a hard no. Randy?
I'm a hard no.
This is a hard no room on that one.
I don't stay up at night thinking about,
Yeah.
I should skydive. I should jump out of a plane.
It looks so cool in the movies.
I know, but I'm okay.
I just can't picture myself like voluntarily stepping out of a plane. Like I just don't.
I mean, never say never, but where I
People
sit right
that
now,
have done it that say it's amazing, and I'm just like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm a good. That's a pass on everyone. Okay, last one: salty or sweet, Lauren?
Oh,
not your attitude.
Can I say both? Can I say both? Because I think that they're incredible together as a combo.
Chocolate covered pretzels. I have some in my office.
Okay, I'm coming to see you later.
If you need a fix, come see
both.
me.
These are amazing. Yeah, I'm a salty myself. I'm like a potato chip girl.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend does have me. She's like, you got to try dipping your potato chip in chocolate. So this is a thing. I think we're all
it's
there.
A beautiful combination.
So that's you too. You're salty.
Well, I'm salty first
Salty
and
too.
foremost.
Yeah.
Salty. But
Do you ever feel like you have
sweet.
to follow it up? Like you're like, okay, I've got my salt fix. Like I need to have the sweet now.
Sometimes.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I think just combining the two, you're
Right.
more
Get it done in one
efficient.
shot.
More efficient.
Multitasking unicorn.
That's right.
Says the gumption.
More efficient.
Unicorns. Amazing show. Thank you so much, Randy, for joining
Thank you,
us.
ladies.
We really appreciate
You're
it. And
awesome.
thank you for letting us use this amazing studio.
No,
We're having a great
course.
time, and our GGW members are just loving the podcast. We've really grown. One call out. We have an email address that we use, fairgame@globalgamingwomen.org.
Nailed it.
Thank you. I practiced. We are going to use that to talk to anybody that wants to hear content, anybody that wants to hear specific topics or has suggestions, or just in general wants to talk to us on the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. So we're going to plug that. We're going to plug it when we do these episodes. So we'd love to hear from you. Randy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you both.
And we'll
you.
see you guys on the next one.
Yeah.